You have an eyelash.
Panic, 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 panic. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Angel and Tony Show. This week's topic was sparked by a conversation that we were having in the car one day. Angel asked me, what is my definition of God? Like, what is God to me? It was kind of a simple question at first, but then it got into like a really deep philosophical question. Like, what does that mean? I thought it would be cool to talk about that. And I was going to start off with asking you what your definition of God is, because I feel like it might take me a minute to explain what mine is.
Sit back, because it'll take me a minute to explain as well.
First of all,
okay.
Do you believe that there is a God?
Yes.
Okay. So what is your definition of that God that you believe in? Like, wow. Is it a singular entity that exists governing over everything and makes decisions?
I'm trying to see how I can formulate my definition in words, because I don't think it's that simple. If I was going to put it in angel terms, I would say God. God's like my homie that can just be felt all around me. So not necessarily if it's like a singular person, entity, man or woman, spirit. God's the homie. Uh-huh. So it's like, do I believe in God? Do I believe in God? Yes, I believe in God. Can I define like what form God is in for me?
Yeah.
I can't. Because
I remember in the religion episode, you were saying like you believe in like Jesus.
I know. So I'm a little like, I'm so complex when it comes to this, because like if we want to rewind back to the religion episode, I was raised Catholic, right? So God, Jesus Christ, Mary, Joseph. As I got older and started looking at religion from like an educational point of view, things started to kind of shift for me. Now, do I think that, you know, growing up Catholic taught me like great morals and like a good foundation? I do. But as I've gotten older and had my own type of relationship with God, like I feel like that progressed. Like I built my own spiritual connection with God that is outside of a religion. It's kind of like, because I grew up a certain way, like I still believe in Jesus, I believe in God, but I don't like classify myself as a Catholic or in an organized religion. I don't know what to really call that. It's my own shit.
My definition of God has gotten to a point, like growing up, it was kind of like the same thing, religion, cool, whatever. I do think that there's something bigger than us here. I think like making it into a character of some sort or like a person makes it easy for the regular human brain to comprehend. But I think it's bigger than that.
And that's why that's why I couldn't define it.
Yeah.
Because we agree. I agree with you in that sense. Like it's bigger than that. It can't really be like, this is God or that is God.
Yeah. So to me, it's more of like a energy or like an experience or like all these things put together, like time, mortality, like energy, other people's spirits or their energy, and like how all of that works together. And I think you can communicate with it and be in touch with it in a way that makes it real if you get it. So to me, I think the easiest way to say that is like praying, but like it goes deeper than that for me, because it's a way to move through life. There are times where like when you're like, man, I'm lost, and you just kind of like have to say stuff out loud. And I think there's a part of like certain people that are religious will call that praying, but there's other people that might call it speaking stuff into existence, you know.
I think you said it better than I did. It's like this all-encompassing thing where let's say I'm having like a really bad day, and this has happened multiple times in my life, and I'm walking my dog and I'm just like feeling like shit. And, you know, a butterfly like flies past me.
Yeah.
And for some reason, and I don't know what it is, like when a butterfly shows itself, it's like I'm like just calm. It's like this calming feeling. It's this energy that I feel, and I can't really explain it or put into words. But that to me is a sign of God.
How much of your life or your experience in life do you think is within your control versus in God's hands? You look at things like that, and it's like if a butterfly flies in front of me, I might just be like, hey, but because you interpret it in a certain way, it affects you differently. Mm-hmm. So it's like, I think sometimes we give God credit for stuff, which I don't think is wrong necessarily, because it might actually be how he communicates with you specifically. But I was going to say, what do you think is in your control and what isn't?
Gosh, that is a very loaded question.
Yeah.
And I say that because I believe in destiny. Mm-hmm. And I believe that every person in this world has some sort of destiny. Now, I also think that you also have free will, though. And I think that through life, you have decisions that you need to make. And each decision affects that destiny. Mm-hmm. So, to answer your question, I think it's a little bit of a column A and column B. I think it needs to work in unison. Like God's grace isn't just going to happen to you because
you exist.
I think that there's certain things that, if you have faith and you believe, whatever that may mean to you, and you work hard, you do your part, God will meet you.
Yeah.
And help you fulfill that.
Which goes back to me saying, like, it's how you read life. It's how you read life that's the part that makes it sort of this always praying thing or always communicating with him, is making those decisions. And to me, what I've found is that walking in truth is always, when you hit these crossroads, like if you just follow what's true instead of trying to like follow something that's ego based or just bullshit, or you're believing something that you're choosing to believe, even though it's false, like that's where you get that communication, or where you're kind of moving in a way that will be beneficial to you, or like that's the way you'll get to your destiny the fastest. Like the thing that's going to be best for you is following truth, even when it's harder.
Yes. I always say this. I mean, I've said it in multiple episodes. I feel like intentions matter. Mm-hmm. And you can fake the funk all day. What your intentions are and where that's coming from is always going to come to fruition one way or the other. And what I mean by that is, let's put charities out there, right? Mm-hmm. Like, if you're going to donate to a charity, and the only reason that you're donating to that charity so you can post it on social media and tell people that you're such a good person because you donated to a charity and you just wanted that attention and really didn't care about the charity.
Yeah.
Like, your intentions are always going to show.
Yeah.
No, that's why I always say, like, what type of person are you when no one's looking?
So when you do have these times that you talk to God, what's something that you are like, I have to talk to God about this? Like, this is something that I feel like I need guidance from something bigger than me for.
But see, like, I feel like I have a very clear channel of communication with God all the time. It doesn't matter if things are going good in my life or bad in my life, that there's always a communication. What
is that communication for you?
I might be like, let's say I'm in the shower or something, and I'm thinking about like my life, and I'm like, wow, thanks God. Or even when we were just in Palm Springs, like there'd be times where I would just like stare off and like look at like the nature that was around us, like when we would be outside in the pool, and just be like, thank you God. Like just certain things, or even just, let's say I'm FaceTiming with my niece and my nephews, and I say, thank you God. And then, or like when I feel like I'm in a lull, I'll say like what's next? And it'll just be this constant communication of like, okay, what's next? Where do I go now? What do I, and just that constant checking in, seeing what's next.
Those are the times where I find myself doing that, and it's like an automatic thing because you find yourself in these kind of solitude moments where you're either in a situation that's really good, where you're just like, damn, like I gotta thank somebody for this, or it's in a situation where you're just like, I am lost and this sucks and I gotta come out of this some kind of way. I don't know how that's gonna happen though. You just kind of have to like give it to God. You know what I mean? That's the term, and I think that's why that is a term.
I think it's like a natural thing for a lot of people to want to talk to God, like when things are going bad. But I also think that it's important to speak to God when things are going good, because just having that constant connection is to me very important and has been nothing but beneficial in my life.
Do you think that there's that judgment day that they talk about in like the Bible? Like, is that something you live in fear of? Not fear of, but is that like a guiding thing for you? Like, I have to do this because I don't want to go to hell.
I don't think I'm going to hell at all.
Do you think that is a place?
Mm-hmm. And I always say, like, to me, like, what are you about to ask me what hell is, or am I jumping to that conclusion?
Go ahead. I'm not in charge.
To me, hell is a place where it's like constant suffering. So I imagine, like, if, let's say, you're just like so thirsty. Have you ever been like so thirsty you're just like thirsty? Just cannot. Like, all you want is to drink, and you just that feeling.
Yeah.
And I just imagine like looking at like an ice cold glass of water. And it's literally like a centimeter away from you, and you can't reach it
for eternity,
ever. like you feel that forever, like forever. That's literally what I think of when I think of hell. And then
burning fire,
burning shit, devils walking around, stepping on fingers. Because I feel like that's where that's where the evil people go.
I want to think that there's like this afterlife. But I also think while I'm here, all I can really worry about is what is here.
Oh, yeah. No, absolutely.
And I think we were talking about this earlier, like people that are in positions of power that do terrible shit all the time that affects other people in like mass. And you think to yourself, like, how do you sleep at night? Whether there's a God or not, it's kind of like your name and your legacy and everything that you lived for while you were here. If all you did was stuff that was shitty, like your name is going to be synonymous with shitty forever after you're gone. And so then it's like, what did you exist for?
And see, those are the types of people that I do believe in hell, because there's got to be a place where those motherfuckers get theirs.
Yeah.
Like, it has to be. Like, these people that are like these people that are just evil.
Yeah.
Like, I have to believe that their karma is ready for them.
But I even think, like, if from a position of karma, like, that's what I'm saying. Back to my whole thing about truth. If you do stuff that exists in ego and lies your whole life, it eventually becomes a thing that follows you, and you're constantly running from it. So your life can never be normal again. And you kind of create your own hell in doing it. Like, you might be super rich, but you got super rich by doing a whole bunch of shady shit to people. And so now you have this great, beautiful house, but you can't leave that house. Or if you do leave that house, you have to go with all the security, and you're worried the whole time you're outside of your house that somebody's going to shoot you. Like, you just created your own hell. Like, because I'm sure that person who's trapped in their house, even if it's really nice, would love to be able to just go for a walk alone. But you don't have that freedom because you did all this terrible shit. That's a hell of its own, even on Earth, which is, to me, would be the same feeling as the thirsty in the water thing. Like, you have all this shit, but all you want is like freedom to exist, and you can't have it.
Yeah.
Outside of like this cage that you built for yourself, which is a fancy mansion on a mountain or whatever. And then you look at like a lot of these dictators and stuff that do evil shit, and then they get killed, and all their honor that they thought they had is like meaningless after that. Right. And they go down in history books forever as just a piece of shit. And like the whole time they were alive, they thought they were like a god amongst men.
But I don't even think they care. Do you know what I'm saying? I think like certain level, like that level of like they don't care. They don't care. None of those people. You think they care about their legacy?
I do think they care, because for you to work so hard to get into that position and do all the things you have to do to get there, I think that's all they care about.
But I think it's all perspective, because those people that are certain in those positions like have a support system themselves, like
of people lying to them.
But that's what I'm saying. So like to them, like they don't, you know what I mean? Like when they're gone, they'll never see the truth of it. Like I think maybe some people have a change of heart on their deathbed or something. I don't know, but for the most part, I feel like a lot of those people just don't care, because they think in their eyes that they still are those people, those gods that are, taken in a higher regard. Speaking of bad people that died, this is totally off topic, but you saw that
homeboy that killed himself.
Did he kill himself? That's a question.
But even like in that case,
he definitely didn't kill himself. They caught like this guy who has all this dirt on all these very, very powerful people. There's no way he killed himself. Like, there's absolutely no way. And what sucks is like that's not justice. That was not justice at all. That's actually a hard loss for all the victims. 100%. He was linked to so many people. And now there's all these powerful ass people that we don't know the truth about.
Not yet.
When I saw that headline, I wasn't like, yay! I was like...
Well, I do also think that death is kind of like an equalizer, because no matter what you did, you can't take it with you. That's probably the root of any religion, is like, that's the one thing we don't know. We don't know for sure. We have no proof to be like, what happens after you die? Are we attaching meaning to death that is just what happens? Who knows? So then it's like, when you are laying on your deathbed, you have the time to like think about your life. All of a sudden, people get closer to God. And it's like, why is that? Because you realize whoever you were your whole life, you ain't shit, just like everybody else. We all are gonna die. Like, we're all.
I don't know if it's like you ain't shit, you're gonna die.
You are. You're on your deathbed. We're all gonna die.
No,
like, we're all equal in that.
I know, but
right.
I don't think that is a certain like thing that most people experience.
What?
Like when they're like, oh shit. Like I think there's some people that are about to die and they're like, wow, I lived this life. Great.
No, I don't think everybody thinks I'm not shit. I'm just saying I meant you ain't shit in the sense of like you are no better than anyone else, because no matter how rich you are, you can't live forever.
I mean, I think, but I think we're correlating rich to bad, and I don't want to do that.
No, I'm saying no matter who you are.
No, death is like, yeah, like
we're all gonna die.
Like that's the one truth that everybody has in their life.
So it's like when you're on your deathbed, whether you were a good person or a bad person, that's where everybody kind of realizes, what they did while they were here mattered, be it positive or negative. All of a sudden, if they weren't religious or if they didn't believe in a God or whatever, all of a sudden they're religious. Like, I look at churches and stuff, and there's a lot of old people in church.
I mean, yeah. I mean, they always say, like, a lot of the church has a lot of, like, sick people in it. It's because a lot of people are lost, so they try to go look for answers and stuff like that. And, if people just want guidance and, like, help.
Like, my dad used to always say, the only thing you can do for God is, like, what you do for other people. What do you think the closest way to get to God is, or the best way to get to God is?
The best way to get to God? Like,
yeah, like,
what does that mean? Like, what do you break it down for me?
I guess the best way to serve God.
I think through communicating with God and living life, I think if you end up finding your purpose in life and actually fulfilling that, to me, I think that's how you get closest to God. Throughout life, you might have different purposes that God will put onto you. At least for me, the one thing that does keep me going is because I do feel like I do have a purpose, and I've had multiple purposes in life, and every time I've leaned into that and like pursued that, it's taken me a step further in life. So like, for instance, like right now, I've been talking about more political stuff And I don't really know what that means for me yet, but that's definitely floating around on a new purpose. Those just come to me from like feelings and like signs and stuff that I'll get.
Especially speaking of signs. What's like a sign to you? Like, are they subtle things that you kind of read into, or do you see them like as super blatant?
They're both. They're subtle and then they're blatant, but they're always combined with a feeling here. There could be a time where I'm walking or something and something falls from a tree and I happen to look down and there's like a number on, like those are little signs for me.
So it's like learning a language.
Yeah. I'm gonna sound crazy as hell on this episode.
Why? I agree with that. I think
that and then just like finding little things, right? Like just anything. Like for instance, when I found my old like book that said in 8th grade like what I wanted to be and stuff, it almost like, all right, see?
You needed that at that moment.
Yeah, like at that moment I needed to see that. Like, yeah, you as a 13-year-old kid knew it.
Yeah.
Like, don't ever forget it. And it was one of those things like, to me, like when you're that young, that's like your truest form of yourself. You get like just kind of like morphed, like, and you can get all these types of influences and it'll, you know, kind of like try to chop at you a little bit, like the pressures of society and expectations of society, and you kind of lose yourself. And when I hit a certain age, like I think in my 30s, I would say, as soon as I hit my 30s, I was able to almost channel back that child and be like, I'm back.
Yeah.
That person. Like in my late teens and 20s, you get like wrapped up into being a lot of things that you are not.
Facts. I just had that conversation today.
The signs come in various forms. They can come through a conversation through you. Like I think that maybe I'm talking about something in the back of my mind, I'm feeling a certain way, and you say something, I think God's speaking through you.
Yeah.
I think God can speak through an Instagram post that I'm scrolling through. I think God can speak through me through a television show that I might relate some sort of moral judgment to. I think Yossi can come up to my chest and God's giving me a hug.
Intuition is another thing too.
Absolutely, my goodness. Yes,
there's like certain time, like I'll be just how I am. I think I don't talk a lot to strangers until I feel a certain way, and like I can be around people and just feel like no.
Feel like no.
Yeah. Like people I don't even know, I'll just meet them and I'll like just be around them for a couple of minutes and be like, no. And I follow that. And then like if it's somebody I have to deal with, like say I work with them or something like that, eventually down the line, the truth will come and it'll be like, yeah, I knew it. I knew that was a no. And they show their true colors in some way or another. Or it might not be that blunt. It might be just like a certain aspect of a person.
No, yeah.
It's like garbage. And I'm like, I kind of knew that person had that garbage issue.
Yeah, you're like, gar banks, but like gar.
Yeah.
First.
Just one gar.
Just one gar.
Yeah. And so I always looked at that, like the intuition
You were so right. God damn it. Intuition. That's a key word for sure. Intuition. Listen to it. Listen to your intuition. That shit never lies to you. You can lie to yourself, but that intuition is so right. Oh my God. That hit me. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That was another thing my dad used to say when he would ask me something and he knew what the answer was.
Yeah.
And he could just see it in my face that I was about to say some horse shit.
He had intuition on your horse shit.
He would be like, Tony, you can lie to me, but don't lie to you. And I'm just like, well, shit. And it's simple, but it's like, that's the thing. Like a lot of people walk around believing their own bullshit for so long.
I mean, because they've been walking in it for so long.
Yeah, and it's like they're lying. They spend so much time lying to everybody else. They start to believe it, and then they're lying to themselves. And it's like at the core of it, you know it. And then you look at people that like are just a bad energy, and that's what it boils down to. It's just like, you're not walking in truth. Like, you're walking in lies, and it's affecting even you.
Do you believe that every person's good and they just make bad choices? Or do you believe that there's actual evil?
I think, personally, that everybody is born inherently good. But I think your environment is what makes you do bad things. Or if you have some type of like sociopathic like brain abnormality, that could do it too. But I think your normal regular person that ends up doing bad things, nobody thinks that they're the bad guy. Like even if you look at superhero movies or like any movie, like the villain always thinks that they're the good guy. Mm-hmm. It's just the way they're going about it is going to require some sacrifice or something like that. Mm-hmm. But if you look at any war scenario, both sides think they're the good guy. Mm-hmm. And both sides think the other guy's the bad guy. When people start doing evil things, I think it's just a result of whatever they want, getting to a point where they're doing whatever it takes to get whatever the thing is that they want or they think is owed to them. And so I don't think babies come out the womb evil. Like, I don't believe in that. I think people are born, like, I've never seen a kid where I'm like, that kid is evil. Personally, I've never seen that. I've seen kids that I'm like, that kid is bad. Like, he has no home training. That kid's mom should get whooped. Or that kid's dad should get whooped. That kid's parents are garbage. But I've never seen a kid where I was like, that kid is evil. No. And I think adults who are bad people, who do bad things, if you go back far enough, you'll find out what happened to them that caused them to be why they are.
So you believe that evil is a product of like how you grew up, kind of like it's developed? Because like there's those like shows with those kids that are just like bad, you know? Like,
they're bad kids, but why are they bad?
Well, that's the point of the show. It's like these kids are just like...
But it's all point of view. Like, if you look at a lot of serial killers and stuff like that, they all have some story where something bad happened to them.
Yeah.
Or something bad constantly happened to them. So it warped who they were at their core. Mm-hmm. And then they might have, some other deficiency that is compounded on top of that, or mm-hmm. like something that they had was dealt with in a totally wrong way, and it was something that they couldn't help, and now they just feel like the world is against them, so they have to like be against the world, and now all the rest of us are like, that guy's crazy or that guy's evil. But it's like, why are they like that though? No, I don't think anybody walks around wanting to do evil shit. Like, that doesn't even make you feel good. You know what I mean? Like, so I don't know, that's my personal take on it. And that's why, even to bring it back to the God thing, any religion looks at kids as like innocent and angels and stuff like that. And I don't think we come into this world with bad intentions, because how can you? You don't even know what anything is. How do you know to be evil? Like, that to me is a conditioning thing.
Yeah.
It's got out of hand. It's escalated quickly.
We're in multiple directions. But I agree with you. Probably like 99% with the whole evil thing. I do believe in like real evil though. Like, I believe in it. I hope I never like ever see it, any of that shit. But I do believe that there is just like evil energies and entities that are around the living.
I've heard people that say they've seen that stuff. And my thing to that was just like, if there's evil out here, there's good out here. So,
no, I mean, duh. Yeah, absolutely.
Which is just another argument that there is a God. Like, if you can easily point out things that are evil, then there's got to be something to counter that, because everything in the world is balanced or looking to be balanced.
And that's what I mean. Like, I definitely believe in more good in the world than evil. That's how I feel. With the whole like political climate now, like, I think it's easy for people to just feel like drained and overwhelmed, but my only hope is that everyone just doesn't lose hope.
Yeah.
And that people stay positive and believe that there are still good people around. Going back to what you're saying, how like a lot of things are perspective based, it's like there's a lot of people like to use the word of God to condemn certain people. Mm-hmm. Or other religions, or and it irritates me so much, because if we're talking about the same God, like, I know you're not talking about my God. You're telling me that my God, nah, my God didn't say that. You know, so when I see people quoting Bible verses and, you know, doing that type of a thing to like shame a group of people, it just really pisses me off. Weaponizing God in that way, like a spiritual energy that is supposed to be good, and you're over here using it for evil, like that's like some next level hell to me.
That's why I think now, especially that people have more information available to them, I feel like you see people getting more ambiguous about religion and who they are, like their denomination, or you're seeing churches that are like, just come in here. You know what I'm saying? It's not so strict about it, because that isn't what it should be about anyway.
Yeah.
That's a whole other conversation, I think.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I just got pissed off. I just thought about it for a second and it like made my blood boil.
What I was saying is, I just think that, you know, having good intentions, following the truth is what I define as God, because doing those things will bring good to you. And I think most people would like to think that that's what God is like good.
Yeah, no, absolutely. You're not in this alone. Like you have, I call him my homie or her my homie. For me, I'll speak from personal experience. I think the biggest mistake I made growing up was thinking that I had to go through this transformation process, this growth process by myself, because I didn't think that I had somebody that had my back. But I mean, that I was so wrong. Like, God's had my back this whole time. God's literally been the homie, like helping me through everything. And I think once I let go of this whole I got to do this by myself, that's when stuff like really started to happen in my life. And I was like, oh no, I'm not in this myself.
What's God to you?
Yeah.
Let us know in the comments. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, all that.
I invite everybody to talk about this in the comments, but we're not here to debate about religion. Like, that's not the point of this conversation. I just want to say that. Like, I don't want people just bashing this religion and that religion. Like, I just, just promoting positivity here. I know religion is a hot topic. Yeah. I'm just trying to not,
Disclaimer.
Yeah, disclaimer.
So, yeah. Let us know what you guys think, and we'll see you next time. Only on the Angel and Tony Show.
On the Angel and Tony Show. Also, we have to say it again, but we're on Spotify and iTunes now. And if you guys can rate and review us on there, that would be so amazing. Please, 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 please.
You good?
I think I'm good.
Cool.
Thanks, guys. Talk.